You're listening to the Coop Homeschool Podcast.
This is your podcast for community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling. I'm Mandy.
I'm Jessica.
And this is
The Coop. It's Road Trips Part 2. So on Part 1, we talked about creating your road trip plan. Part 2, we're talking about adding the educational component. I'm really excited.
I know, that's where homeschool moms
are so excited.
Yeah, I'll spend all my time on that for sure.
Exactly. And still to come, we have Part 3, which is living the plan, the do's and don'ts. And then Part 4, real road trip ideas. Mm-hmm. So before we jump in, we have a really fun scoop on the Coop today.
Yeah. You should announce that you did all the work for it.
I did some. But we opened an Etsy shop.
I know. How cute are we? And our stuff is super cute, and you should go and check it out.
Yep. So we opened a store because we already had made swag for ourselves. Because we couldn't help it. We have our Coop Homeschool hats, and we have our Coop Homeschool totes. And then I was looking for other ideas because I was like, I want to wear more homeschool mom things, but you know, like the more generic ones that are already out there, it's not my favorite. And so I was like, I want something kind of funny, you know, maybe borderline snarky. And I want some silly things. And so I was coming up with ideas, and I saw this on a meme somewhere, and I was like, that makes the perfect thing. And it was caffeinate and educate.
Yeah, so cute.
And then I added where did that tote go?
Because I don't drink coffee, but I do need my soda, or I have this powder called Energize.
Right.
That gives me my caffeine too. Yeah.
So
and my iced tea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But caffeine really kicks off your day.
Yes.
And really empowers you. Because if I've stayed up till 3 a.m. watching Downton Abbey for the third time in a row or whatever.
You need a little boost.
I need a little boost in the morning.
Yeah. And I thought about different wine ones.
Oh, funny.
I thought about like the mom hair something,
the bun,
the mom bun. And I was like, you know what? We're just going to go with caffeinate and educate for now. And then I really wanted a cute little necklace. And so I have one that says Homeschool Mom.
Yeah, it's so cute.
It's super cute. And so I'm not wearing it today, so...
Yeah, but if you
don't bother looking.
Everyone should buy themselves a kickoff to the school year gift, or their spouse should.
Right. So if you haven't gotten yours, and now it's getting towards October,
you need to go get yours. And I mean, I have my salt lamp here. My husband got me flowers.
Aww.
You know, so I'm covered.
Right. Yeah, and I bought myself my Homeschool Mom Necklace.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so check it out. It's on our. It's
an Etsy shop.
Yeah.
So it's Etsy.com, and then our store is The Coop Homeschool. And then there's links on our website. So if you go to our shopping page on our website, you'll see links to the Etsy shop as well.
And we should connect it to our podcast page for this podcast.
Yeah, totally. It'll be referenced in our show notes.
Yeah, so check out, what episode number is this?
56.
56? No, 57.
57.
No, what is it? There's so many episodes.
This is episode 56.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, 56. Go to episode 56 and you will get a link to all of our resources that we mention on this podcast. And we have a couple blogs about the road trips as well. So we'll connect those as well. And you'll have checklists and things like that.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Let's jump into it. So this is part D, educational component. So one of my favorite parts about life with my kids is just being able to point out all the amazing ways we can learn from life in general, just from living. There's so much we can pull in on a day-to-day basis. Some of it's organic, some of it's pushed, but there's immense learning opportunities in all things. And then even for a road trip, some things happen in preparation of the trip that you might study beforehand, and then some happen en route or at locations. And so just having a plan for your road trip is really helpful, and then deciding where to put in all of these different things.
Yeah, it's road tripping with intention.
Exactly. And then of course, you don't have to go on a road trip to add educational opportunities to your car trips. We did a whole episode about that. It's episode 19, and it's car schooling.
Yeah, and we mentioned the bag of fun in there, which we're going to mention later too.
Exactly.
So if you're interested in what the bag of fun is, go there. And then we also have a link to our blog on how to make a bag of fun with a downloadable and everything.
Yeah, it's super fun. So if you're interested in car schooling, that's a popular episode. A lot of people are spending half their lives in the car, shuttling kids here and there, or even just going on adventures to the park. You're in the car for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Why not use that moment to listen to a book?
Yeah.
Or incorporate a bag of fun.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into step 1, curriculum. So like a homeschool mom's favorite word.
Yeah.
Curriculum? Tell me more.
The exhibit hall at the conference, oh my goodness, that I just went to not too long ago. It's packed. I mean, I could spend the whole conference in the curriculum
You didn't
hall.
even see everything.
No.
Right. We had an Instagrammer friend who was there, and you didn't even see her.
I know.
So funny.
She's like, maybe next time I'll see you. I'm like,
I don't know. I have no time.
I don't know. I was too busy checking out the spinning car on the table of the science kits.
Show me more.
Yeah.
So, depending on what your road trip is about and where you're going, it can be really easy to incorporate these particular subjects. Math is a lot harder. Math, it just seems like, well, you can bring along a math book if you want to, but it's not as natural unless you're playing games. But that's counting. That's a different category.
I mean, counting. So, or we used to
count your signs.
We used to say like, oh, how many? My son, who was really into that, he would
numbers.
ask how many minutes. I'd say like 30. Okay. How many seconds is that? I'd be like, I don't know, 30 times 60, so 1,800 seconds. Okay, I'm going to count them. And he would count.
I believe it.
And then see where we were at 1,800.
Yeah. So, never mind. There are math opportunities.
I know.
But not necessarily ones that you plan out and prepare for. And unless you have an extremely numbers-oriented kid, he's going to be a statistician one day. He's going to be doing baseball numbers or something.
Know.
He's like a money ball. That's his job.
Yeah.
But social studies, that's a great way to incorporate that. It's not always the biggest focus in elementary school in particular for homeschoolers, but it's a great opportunity to incorporate some historical aspects, landmarks, geography, people groups, that sort of thing. So if the places that you're traveling to have opportunities to study that, it makes it such natural learning, and then it's reinforced by the trip. It's something that they'll remember.
Yeah, it really makes an impact on their learning when they've learned about it. I mean, we all feel that way.
Yeah.
When I went, I did a Christmas cruise on the River Danube, and I kicked myself when I was there, and I was like, how did I not read about the Habsburgs before I was here?
Sure.
It would have meant so much more to be at their palace if I would have known something about them.
Right.
It just impacts you so much more. It means so much more. And when you're spending all this money.
Right. So for your own trip that you went on without children, you didn't.
That cost $2,000.
Right. You didn't put in all of this effort on what to learn about before you go. You did different research to make sure your trip was good.
I didn't even do that. My travel agent friend did that. I just showed up.
Funny. Yeah. So that's very interesting. But as homeschool moms for our kids, we're always in search of those opportunities. We would never go without one.
Oh yeah, we're looking 6 months ahead of time. Like what? So going back to the historical and people groups and landmarks, there's so many what is, who was, who is, where is. Those little books are 100 pages each and super easy to read aloud. They're like about an hour read aloud. Yes. So when we're driving, I'll just give one example. When we're driving to the Grand Canyon, you can read aloud, where's the Grand Canyon? And you literally learn about the people. And then when you go to the visitor center, they're talking about those same people.
Right.
And so it means so much more. Yeah.
And this series is really great too, because you can get them through the library. So you can get the ebook on your phone through your library app, or you can get the audio version. Some of them are audio versions. So I have Where's Grand Canyon for our trip. I have the physical book that we own, and then I have the audio book just in case everyone would rather do that.
Yeah, and what's nice about them, if you do need to buy them, they're only $3.99 or $4.99. And so Barnes & Noble, we sat there one time and they had 3 shelves of them.
That's crazy. Yeah. And I was at the library today. The library had Where's the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Just for example, I was over in that group. So I feel like you can find these books anywhere. And you can buy them inexpensively, or you can borrow them, which is fantastic.
And they don't take up much space, and they're very light and thin, so you can easily throw them in.
And you can skim through them, too.
Yeah.
And then in the back, there's a whole timeline, which is super fun, because then you can compare it to other events in history. So that's really neat.
It's easy to throw into your backpack, too. If you're going to go on a long hike and then sit somewhere, you could read 1 or 2 chapters out of it, and it won't weigh that much.
Exactly. And then not only could you incorporate social studies into the areas that you're going, but even the time period that you're going. So for instance, we're going to be, or by the time this airs, sorry, this is recorded early. By the time this airs, it will have been the 20th anniversary of 9/11. And we're going to be on our road trip. So we'll be in the middle of the Grand Tetons on the 20th anniversary, and we've not really covered it academically. You know, we've acknowledged it when it comes up, but she's not really asked a lot of questions, and she's in 4th grade, she's 9.5, but I feel like I'm ready to actually teach it now. You know, I think she's mature enough and aware of, I mean, she's been through coronavirus, for heaven's sake. I think she can understand what's happening with all that's going on in Afghanistan right now. I think it's important to talk about it. So I just checked out a few books from the library, and the Where Is has the What Were the Twin Towers.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to bring that along with us. And so that's another thing that I'm incorporating just because the dates happen to fall there. You know, so that's another thing is anything significant happening that you can teach about while you're gone.
Like if you're gone on MLK, you know, day, you know, you could do something about civil rights.
And on our return trip, we'll be in the Arches. We'll be at Arches on the first day of fall.
Oh, cool.
You know, so then that's another opportunity to talk about the fall equinox, the equal number of hours of day and night. And it incorporates with our space unit that we're already studying, because we learned about the phases of the moon and the gravitational pull of the sun and all of that and how that affects seasons.
So the space unit you're doing is prep work.
Right.
Because you're going to, when you're on your actual road trip, you're going to utilize the places you're going and the dates of things that are happening. So you wanted to get in the space ahead of time. So I like that intention as well. When we were, even though Alaska was not a road trip, you know, we made sure to study the towns we were going to go to ahead of time, because I knew on the cruise I was not going to feel like reading to them. I still brought the books and I still probably read it to them when they were going to bed at night. But it was to get them excited, and that's part of the prep too, getting them excited. You're going to see these stars, these constellations in their full, you know, splendor.
You know, I've got our night sky guide packed and ready to go, and I was looking at observatories that might be in certain areas, and so it just so happens we were doing the space unit anyway, but I made sure to cover the topics that would be relevant to our trip. So that's a way to incorporate science. You've got geology, you know, if you're studying the Grand Canyon or going there, what a rich opportunity to actually talk about geology when otherwise so far removed from it, it's so boring.
Well, yeah, I have to say,
I teach it.
My husband's gonna laugh when he hears this podcast because, and it's his favorite podcast. Let me just say,
obviously.
But when he hears this podcast, because I introduced the word taphony to them when we were driving to Vegas and the Arches, and that's erosion holes that you see, and you can see them all throughout the Arches as you're driving. You can see it's almost like polka dots everywhere.
Crazy.
And there's just these little tiny caves that you could like stick your hand in, or even some bigger ones. And there's just like these little fairy holes, basically. So they're called taphonies. Cool. And then I ended up seeing them everywhere, and I still see them at the beaches. I see them anywhere where there's water erosion. But it was so nice being able to name it, to have an actual term for it. And so he's like, I can't even count how many times you've said taphony.
Where in your normal life you would have never said it ever.
I know, but it was just so cool knowing what that was called. It's so
and
weird.
Now your kids will.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very Charlotte Mason thing, right? Being able to name the birds and the plants and the trees.
And they might not recall that word until it comes up some other time, but then imagine that flood of like, I remember I was in Arches and my mom wouldn't stop talking about it.
I know.
You know, it's so true. In August, he's 3.5, and he was already talking about the hoodoos that we're going to see in Bryce Canyon.
Oh, yeah. So the hoodoos, that's part of the 7 Magic Mountains on the way to Vegas. That's kind of what it's modeled after. So even if you don't pull off for that, which you totally should if you do, but if you go by
we're kind of in a hurry to get to our first camping destination with the long drive.
But if you could pull off for 10 minutes, those are like that artist's version of hoodoos.
That's so cool. Yeah, with the painted rocks. That was a really cool picture you have there. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to incorporate these things, particularly geography. If you're going on a road trip, show them how to use a road atlas, show them how to use mapping skills, show them where you're going. If you're crossing state lines, talk about that. You know, where are these states connected and how does this work and all of that stuff.
We had some books in the car, the 50 states. We also had there was A Spell Across America. There's Feed Me Words. There's a National Geographic road trip for kids.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It had the weirdest facts.
Yeah, we have that
They
one.
were like fascinated, and my daughter was flipping through all the states at that point. Like, did you know it's illegal to chew gum on certain sidewalks in whatever state?
Right.
You know, it was just
So
really
funny.
fun. Yeah.
So there's a lot of really great opportunities to incorporate that type of stuff. Literature. So I have a few books. Scott Odell wrote he wrote a book about Sacagawea, and then he wrote a book about, I believe it was a Native American woman, part of the, is it the Shoshone? No, that's Sacagawea. The Navajo. So when we get down to the Grand Canyons, I put it in there. And there's no audio version of this book. However, my daughter does love to read, so I'm hoping to encourage as part of her drive to read it. I don't know that it would become a read aloud in our car, but I'm hoping that she might want to pick that up. And if not that, then we have other literature options that we're planning to read. I want to talk a lot about, the westward expansion and that kind of thing, and listen to firsthand accounts of that, through the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Cool.
And reading the diary and that kind of thing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I know we'll mention the activity book later, but also as part of the curriculum, you could create your own activity book.
Yes.
And so when we were studying, was it Geronimo? I can't remember. We were studying somebody in Arizona, and certain people are throughout a number of states.
Right.
But it was an opportunity to teach about different people, and so then I would just put a blurb about them,
right? And
then I would have questions like, what do you think of him changing his religion from like spiritualism to Christianity? And we would talk about that, and it was really neat to have discussions in the car.
Exactly.
Even if you're not going to read a whole book about it, even just to have you could have a read aloud paragraph about somebody.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's an opportunity too. Is if you don't want to bring individual books or individual curriculums, create your own. Use all of that stuff. Pull it together. It's almost like having your printable unit study book. Make your road trip a whole unit study.
Yeah.
Create it yourself, pulling from those materials. So then you only have the one item in the car.
Yeah.
And you can put in there the paragraphs or, the multiple pages from certain sources. For the activity book that I'm making for my daughter, I incorporated the Junior Ranger activity pages in there. So they're already there. They're not going to be somewhere else. It's just a part of the activity book she has. So for each leg of the drive, when she's in that section, she can pre-fill out all of those things to earn her Junior Ranger bag for that national park.
Yeah, and so what I love about that is, this is just a little tip, is when you're at the location, you don't necessarily want them always sitting with a workbook, filling things out. And so when we did the Grand Canyon, we ended up at the end of the day being, you could get a Junior Ranger badge. That's one of the first times we even thought about it for Grand Canyon, and they wanted to. So then we sat in the gift shop after we spent the whole day there, for like an hour, and then trying to remember, did we see what three animals did we see? I was like, well, it was winter, there were no animals. Like, the deer we saw on the way out. Well, that could have gone in the book, but
too late.
But they didn't even know to look for the animals because they didn't even know the questions.
Right.
And then there was an interaction time at the visitor center we didn't really know about. We hadn't spent enough time at the visitor center finding out about that, and it wasn't even volunteered to us. We started our whole visit at the visitor center. He didn't say, we have a Junior Ranger program. Yeah. There was nothing.
Yeah, they get a lot of traffic at that particular one. Okay. When I was a kid, I remember it being a big thing, but we would stay somewhere for a week.
Okay.
So for the people who are there for 1 to 2 days, that's not really a lot of time to really invest in the program, unless, like you said, you do it in advance and you go there prepared for it. So they're already looking. You need that nature walk to be signed off by a ranger. In Sequoia Kings Canyon here in California, I used to have to pick up trash. And then you'd have to show it to a ranger, and then they would sign it off. So it was multiple things that you wouldn't be able to complete in a day very well.
It was really a lot of work. And we were just hanging out in the gift shop, and I ended up shopping. You know, as they're sitting on the carpet on the floor.
Well, actually, I do have to say, Grand Canyon specifically, you can't get that one in advance.
Oh, you can't?
So that's one of the ones I tried to download, and they don't make their PDF available. So we won't be able to get it until we get there. But now I know, even on check-in, go there that night before we even get settled. And then she already has it prepared for our first full day in the Grand Canyon.
And the badges are so cute because they're wooden.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Yeah,
I have
it's
mine.
it's really cute.
Yeah, so it's a great opportunity if you're doing national parks. And if you're not, go
and
and check out the different things that you're doing.
And there's these national park books, too.
Oh, yes.
Such beautiful books. I'm holding up National Parks of the USA, written by Kate.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
It's written by Kate Sieber, but they're the wide-eyed books, and they're gorgeously illustrated books.
Yeah.
And it does not have every national park in here, so do beware. And it would be more if you're studying an overview of the national parks. So, for instance, it has Bryce Canyon in here, but not Arches.
Yeah.
And you would wonder, like, well, why did they pick that one? But they were trying to get a variety of the different areas and the different national parks, and so they're just really gorgeous. And then there's an activity book that goes along with it. So that activity book I'm not duplicating separately. I'm just going to bring that book in the car, so I'm not going to bring the beautiful big book. We've already looked through it several times before we go in preparation, and then the activity book will be new on the road trip.
Well, I remember when we were playing the game Trekking National Parks prior to going. That was our prep work.
Right.
Was playing that game, and then we had this book out.
Yeah.
So we would look. I'd be like, oh, let's see if that one's in the book.
Right.
And then we would look at it and kind of read a little bit more about it. So you can always pair different things in your prep work.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was more the curriculum heavy items, the more really intensive work stuff that you might be able to incorporate into their educational plan while on the road trip. Then step 2 is the fun things.
Yay.
So it's a perfect segue because you were just talking about games, and what better than games, you know?
Yeah.
I played so many card games on vacations with family and stuff, or games in the car, whether it's a license plate game or educational games.
Yeah.
So you mentioned trekking the national parks. That's a really highly rated game. I've had my copy or my version of it. I think I recommended it to you.
You did, yeah.
I've had it for almost 2 years now because we were supposed to do our road trip last year and it didn't happen. So we're finally getting to it. We're playing the game.
You have? Okay.
Yeah. And then
it totally clues you into the national parks a lot more, and seeing them on the map too, knowing where they are. And,
yeah. And then we also got a national parks game called Get Wild, and we'll talk more about that when we get to our real road trips episode. So I won't be so specific about all of the games right now, but there's a lot of games for every type of thing that you're doing. So because we did national parks, there's just so much out there.
There's a national parkopoly.
We have that.
Oh, we just got that too.
We have 2 of them. Okay. There's a national parkopoly, and then there's another one too.
Oh,
that's maybe a junior rangeropoly.
Oh, funny.
So we have both of those.
Okay.
And now we have this Get Wild game. That's a really fast
But you don't necessarily
action.
want to take that maybe, but like these big ones like trekking and stuff, you don't want to take those on the road. Those are definitely something you want to do ahead of time. Right. And you can pair with a unit study.
Exactly. And then it's fun when you come back to play again after you've actually been there and go, yeah, I did see that, or whatever it is. Yeah. So that's really neat. So games can be a really great opportunity to do fun educational things on the road trip. Some of the national parks even have their own Yahtzee versions.
Oh, fun.
So my mom used to collect those to the different national parks. So we have different Yahtzees from different national parks. Random.
I don't know anyone who plays Yahtzee anymore.
Oh, August makes me play.
Oh,
he
still
just
sell
pretends,
that game?
He just pretends to write down scores. He's just scribbling on the score sheet, and he just makes me keep rolling.
I need to play that because you add it up, right? That'd be good for my. But that'd be good for my 6 and 7,
totally
6-year-old.
Well, it's good, and then it teaches them the basics of cards because then you prepare to learn games like rummy or poker or those different games where you need to know what's a 4 of a kind, what's a 3 of a kind, what's a full house, what's a straight, that type of language and stuff. So I highly recommend Yahtzee, actually. It's a lot of fun. Who doesn't like to shake a cup full of loud dice and throw it out
and yell Yahtzee?
Oh, but you never get a Yahtzee.
Yeah.
August likes to play with 6 die instead of 5, though. So getting a Yahtzee, which only requires 5, is actually more likely. Yeah. Statistically likely.
Good idea.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that sums up games. One of your favorite, well, actually, we both did this. I used to do this for Sophia when she was little, is give them gifts on the road trip.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I like to also collect them at the visitor centers as you go along. And then those are great gifts for on the way back.
Right.
Or use your stocking stuffers, too.
If sneak a gift for later.
Yeah. But, part of the bag of fun, should I bring up the bag of fun?
Do you? Yeah. Well, you
Okay.
incorporate gifts in there.
Yeah.
So,
So,
sure, go ahead.
part of the bag of fun, you check out the blog for that. But one of the popsicle sticks would say prize.
Right.
And then awesome.
Everyone gets
the prize. And the prize is something I've pre-wrapped and it's in my little tote bag for the car.
That's cute.
And it's usually something they can do in the car or they would enjoy playing with in the car. And, this last time it was headphones because they didn't have headphones to listen to books or whatever. Or music. So that was a super big prize for them. But you can, it could be like their favorite candy or whatever. Yeah. So, and then we also use gifts as when they're working on their activity book. If they finish the scavenger hunt, that would be a prize.
Right.
Or
little rewards for, finishing little parts and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. I have for our upcoming road trip, August is hit or miss with like coloring and stuff. But I can't take markers. So we have the Color Wonder. I never buy the Color Wonder, like the magic. They're markers that don't mark on anything except for the special paper.
Because you can't bring crayons because they will melt in the car.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's getting better with colored pencils. So I think I am going to take those. I'll let you know how that goes. But we have, the Color Wonder paper. For my daughter, I got her, what did I get her? I got her something.
Well, it's fun to put it in their little tote bag too. So when they first get in the car and they open up, they're like, "What is this?" It could be those like, what are they? They're like the black pages that you scratch on, and then it's like rainbow underneath. Sometimes I'll do that, and Mad Libs. Like even though they're things that they wouldn't always pick out, they're excited because they weren't expecting it.
And it's the road trip version of it. There's just something about doing things, and it keeps it going so that there's not the dull moments. I mean, there will be, but there's not the dead times in between where you're like, well, I don't know, just figure it out. I'm sorry you're bored, but there's more things coming. The bag of fun is perfect for that. Okay, we're having a down moment. It's time for a round of bag of fun.
And my 6-year-old always won the bag of fun because I also had like the popsicle stick in there that said tablet time.
Oh, yes.
So they would do it until they pulled the tablet time one, and then they're like, okay. And then I'm like, whatever. If it gets them to do the story one word at a time or
it was
tell
motivational.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Totally. Music. What's a road trip without music?
Especially themed music for your road trip.
Exactly. So if you're going through the Wild West or hitting Route 66, why not get some songs that are going to cover that or whatever it is? Yeah. And so get your music organized. If you want to include music that has something to do with something else that you're studying, get that organized. Figure it out because there's a great opportunity to have a captive audience and listen to something.
Yeah, if you're going to, I don't know, Tennessee, then get some Johnny Cash in there.
Right, absolutely. It's a great opportunity for podcasts, for audiobooks. That might not be a part of your curriculum, but just a fun family book that you have going on. What other audio things? There's audiobooks. Oh, independent books. So when there's times where my daughter just we're not doing something all together in the car. If the little guy's napping and she wants to do something, I want to make sure she has audiobooks. Oh, a devotional. That was the other one. I wanted to make sure we had a devotion to listen to while we were driving as well. Cool. Or my husband will sometimes pull up a sermon that he wants to listen to from his favorite pastor.
And then it's great for discussion, especially if you normally go to church on a Sunday. Right. That's a great day to do it.
Yeah, we're going to be gone for 3 Sundays.
Yeah.
So it's
what
nice
a great
to cover
opportunity.
that.
Yeah. And I think also there's those CDs that are, you're clapping, you're doing the elevator, those movement CDs that you could actually still do in your car seat. Yeah. You can reach up high and reach down low, and I think there's one called Circle of Songs, and
fun.
And that's really fun. You're making peanut butter and jellies, you're smashing bees in your hands, you know. So you could always incorporate those, and even a teenager could have fun doing that and being silly and goofing off with that.
Sure.
If the parents are doing it too.
And if it's just for 30 minutes, it's not the expectation of the entire drive. They know they have something else to look forward to on the drive. Who wouldn't want to just jump in for 30 minutes?
When I was in high school and we would take the bus to Forest Home for our high school camp, we would sing all those camp songs. And we would be doing all the hand motions. And
even if it was begrudgingly.
Yeah.
It would end up being fun for you because
it was a
why
goof.
not?
Yeah.
It was a
It was
goof.
really
That's
fun.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you have those things and have them downloaded. You don't want to be stuck trying to download things on the drive.
And if you're in the process of learning a language, there might be some really fun language CDs to listen to just to keep you up on it.
Absolutely. That's a good one. We already talked about our enrichment activity book, but as far as the fun things go, that's a great opportunity for word puzzles, for crosswords, for, all of those kinds of neat things, or, putting in your own version of Mad Libs and make it silly to match your family, put your own family's names in there and stuff like that. And so there's opportunity to kind of customize the things that are in front of them too. Technology. So if you're allowing technology on your road trip, make sure you have a plan for it, when to use it, when you don't want it to be used, have limits so that it's something they're already prepared for. I would say that can be really important. If it were up to my 3-year-old, he'd be on it the entire time.
Oh, yeah, right.
And
so,
you
want them looking out the window.
Right. You want them to be engaged in the actual road trip. And so be prepared. If you need your chargers, figure out your charging situations. Figure out what needs to be downloaded ahead of time. You don't want to be promising something and then find out it's not going to work. That's not going to be fun. So make sure you have that organized and ready to go. If you're going to incorporate some educational things on the tablet, go for it. If that's going to be a novelty for them in the car and you can sneak in an educational app or a language app or whatever it is, do that.
Yeah,
That's great.
And then be intentional with your own time when they're on that. That is your either time to have really great discussions with your spouse or listen to a book together.
Right.
You could share headphones, your AirPods, or you just both hit play at the same time.
Right. Or if the kids have their headphones on, we can just play it through the speakers up in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen to a podcast together or plan out whatever you need to plan out still together, but just you be intentional with that time.
Yeah, I agree. Are you good with the fun things? Anything else that we missed?
Oh, well, this is a fun thing my dad used to do for us that I have never done, but he would hide a gift for us in the van, and then it was a scavenger hunt to find it. So it would be really tiny.
Yeah.
But we had a Volkswagen van too, so there were a lot of little nooks and crannies. Right. Between the refrigerator and the microwave or whatever,
how fun.
The stove.
Yeah. I am going to do that. I'm going to start the road trip with a gift for them that they get on the first leg of the drive, so like after we get in the car and intentionally like start the road trip, then they'll get one. But I like the idea of almost making it like a fun scavenger activity.
You could give them a hint.
Yeah.
And maybe they I remember he gave us a hint and then we had to like try and finish the sentence or whatever. Cute. Yeah. Maybe something that rhymed with it. Or, I can't remember, but it was something we had to figure out of where it was.
That's super cute. I like the idea. Just brainstorming here of starting it from the moment they wake up. So like the morning of the road trip, like, okay, is your bag in the car? Did you brush your teeth? Did you eat? And so there'd be a note for the scavenger hunt and all of those points. And then it would lead them into doing. Yeah. So I'll let you know if I do it and how it goes. But I thought that would be kind of cute. And then it gets them all the way to their seat in the car. And then on their car seat would have their final clue, which would be in reach. Yeah. But maybe it'll be wrapped in their little seat organizer or something really like that. And then they have that.
That's fun.
That might be a fun way to get them into the car.
I mean, I still remember it as a grown-up. Something we did.
I love that.
And it was my ultimate prize was Whitney Houston Greatest Love of All. Oh, my first cassette tape ever.
That came up at our camping trip. Yeah. That leads us to step 3. We're revisiting this one from the previous part 1, and this is travel partners. So again, you're going to want the buy-in from your travel partner, especially if you're adding educational component, because if you're traveling with someone who's just not interested in listening to an audiobook as a family or a friend or whomever you're traveling with, if they don't care about spending the time talking about something when you're at a site or doing the activity you had planned, that could really just tank a trip for someone, and it could be fixed by just having had a conversation about it.
If they knew it was important to you, or if they knew there was a certain reason you were doing it at a certain point in time, then I'm sure they would be on board. But you have to communicate that.
Absolutely. And then vice versa. If they had something that they wanted to do and teach about, because my husband loves teaching our kids. And if I don't check in with him and ask him what he hopes to accomplish on the trip, I might miss an opportunity for him to have picked something to lead himself and not be everything me just telling everybody what to do the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really important to check in with your travel partner, make sure they're good with what you're doing, ask them to participate, plan it together, and then, you know, make sure that they know what's happening.
Yeah. On we posted a blog about this.
Yeah.
And it talked about having, you could even go as far as having like a micro mission statement together of like what you, so you're both in tune with what you both want to accomplish and plan together and all that.
Right. And that just helps you respect each other's choices on road trips and feelings and the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, because I want him to have a great road trip.
Yeah.
You know, but if I don't know what he wants to do, that I can't help him do that.
Right.
Then, you know, he might be changing my plan, and I don't like a change of plan.
Right.
And so if I can
especially
incorporate
if
that
you
from
spent the
beginning.
most amount of time on it, you know, you feel more ownership over it. And
Right.
so the idea is that you have a shared ownership
Exactly.
over the trip.
Yep. That's all I had for part 2. So
Yeah.
it's a nice, short and sweet part 2 for adding in the educational component, but it's our favorite one.
Yeah. So fun. So memorable.
Yeah. So it is now time for the
Coop Q&A,
where we answer
your questions.
If you have a question you want us to answer, go to our podcast page on our website. It's thecoophomeschool.com, or you can email us, mamahens@thecoophomeschool.com. So today's question, Mandy. Why is there less focus on science in the elementary homeschool world?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just at a conference, and this is the question that was asked.
Oh, funny.
Yeah. And they seemed newer to homeschooling, so they were confused. You're like,
Okay.
why are we just felt like
They're just, everything's about reading and math. What's
the
going
testing,
on?
you know, especially for the early grades is all. And the conference speaker for that session said, well, that's, and it was a science session.
Okay.
Like, why are they not focusing on science and focus, you know, and he said, well, that's because that's what matters the most at that age.
That's funny. So he was trying to sell science.
Yeah, he was selling science curriculum. He
Right.
was teaching us the importance of science and teaching science, and why actually the topic was why your kids can learn science better in their home.
Oh.
Not even outside at a lab.
Oh,
Not even
interesting.
outsourcing it,
but within their own home.
Within their own home, and why it was better. And there were like 5 points of why it was better to learn
really
inside
cool.
your actual home.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah. So,
So he said,
and he's a PhD in science, and you know,
science something. Yeah. But I know what you mean.
Yeah,
he's got
I
a
can't remember.
scientific degree of some type.
Yeah, and
but he even still, he said that math and English. Like,
yeah, and he said math is basically the foundational. It's the building block of science. So if they can solve problems in math, then they'll be able to approach science in a logical way, you know. And but if they're interested in science, then go ahead. But he said they will naturally be in science already. They're naturally asking questions about animals and bugs.
What is baking? I mean, that's science too.
The weather, you know. So in elementary age, the science doesn't need to be formal. Now he sells a formal curriculum.
Sure, if you want one.
For those who want one and those kids who want to know more. But he said, don't let curriculum, this is what he said, be a tyrant. So he said, if you have a science curriculum, he's like, even my own, if they show an interest in something that you're introducing, stop the curriculum and go enjoy that. Right. Go dive deep into that and enjoy that for however long until it's depleted or until they've lived out what they wanted to. And then go back to the curriculum. Right. And then they'll find something else, and then you can go dive deep into that. Or if they had an experience and they want to dive into that, go do that.
Right. So use it as a guide. But really let the kids lead.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and he said, because it's all about curiosity. And then he also said science is best taught. I know this is going away from the question, but he also said science is, what research has shown time and time again, is science is best taught in a controversial environment. So he said in the public school arena, in the institutional arena, they don't teach it in a controversial way. They only teach one way to look at things. in the
So
evolutionary
it's just being
perspective.
given fact
Yeah.
and fact and fact.
But
and
what
fact.
they found is even when it was something that the kids knew was wrong, like even when they were told the earth is flat or the earth is round, and they had to discuss the different viewpoints, the kids learned more than the kids in the room that was just told the earth was round.
And that's it.
And that's it.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he says but you won't get controversy in the institutional environment.
Right.
They're not allowed to teach controversy. They have
Right.
to teach one way of thinking.
And then that's interesting. So then even thinking about the maturity level it would take to be able to discuss a controversial scientific topic and go back and forth, that wouldn't necessarily be a first grader.
Yeah.
Not every
I mean,
first grader.
I'm just thinking of like my 6-year-old. I could even say to her, do you think the earth is flat or round? And
Right.
then discuss, like, actually for a while people thought it was flat.
Right.
And so that's his approach. His curriculum is like saying, actually people thought it was flat for a really long time.
Right.
Can you imagine?
Right.
And
What would
talk,
that be like?
yeah. And then people get thrown in jail for saying the earth was not the center of the universe, and
Yeah.
and so and the research shows they hold on to that more.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so
Love that.
So I'm like sold. I'm gonna buy your curriculum,
Done and
which
done.
is just a textbook and a bunch of experiments.
So if you want to do curriculum, do science curriculum.
Yeah.
It's out there. It's
Yeah.
available. But if you don't want to, it's not the highest emphasis for the early elementary.
yeah, and because it's a natural thing for them anyways,
Right.
and math is really what's teaching their brain how to think
Right,
when
and
it comes to
prepare.
science.
Yeah.
yeah,
Perfect. Love it.
yeah.
All right. Stay tuned for part 3
Of
Thanks for listening. We love your support. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave a rating and review to let us know how we're doing, and share our podcast with your friends who need a little community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling.